In our last class, we solved questions on two measures of location, the mode and the median. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to calculate the mean. And from the mean formula, the mean is the same as the average, or you can also call it the arithmetic mean. Using the formula of the mean that you're going to learn, we can also calculate other things, okay? Like the total of the number of items given to you, that is the data or the distribution, their total. We can also calculate that, from the formula of mean. And from the formula of mean, we can also find out how many items are given to us in a distribution. Now on the board here, we have the formula of mean. There are two ways I have written this formula on the board. Okay? The first one, mean is equal to sum of all items divided by the number of items. In our previous class, okay, I gave introduction to mean because we define mean as the average of the sum of all the items in a given distribution. So the average, I told you in that last class when we were defining mean. Now once you hear average, division should come to your mind. So if we are giving a particular data, all we need to do is to sum. Sum means to add all the items in that data. You can say all the items in the observation. Is that okay? And then we will divide it by the number of observations. That is the number of items we have. Now, let us make an assumption that, okay, you give me some distribution. Now we're going to call the distribution x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 down to any number of items. Does that make sense? So the x1, x2, x3, x4, they represent numbers. Could be something like this, like what you have here, okay? Now we are calling all of this xi. Let us say that the observation given to us, everything should be xi. Each of them represent xi. Where here the xi is x1, here the xi is x2, in this case the xi is x3, down to xn. Xn means the last number or the last observation. Now we can write the mean using this formula. I decided to bring out this formula in case you are given a question anytime and they said the formula for mean is given as dash. Maybe you see something like this. Okay, now this is read as mean. That's the way we read it. Mean equal to summation. This sign, we've already seen it before, when I taught frequency table. Summation, which means add up all values of xi. And these are the values of xi, x1, x2, x3, So it's going to be summation xi. That is x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus continuously down to plus xn. Sum of all items. Then we divide it by the number of items. I'm using n to represent the number of items. Now, the meaning of the things I used in this formula is written here on the board. This sign, which is sigma, actually means sum. So this thing means sum of all items, and then n is the number of items. So this is much of what you should know as to the introduction to the formula of the mean. And remember, the mean is also called the average, or you can call it the arithmetic mean. Having said this, let us look at these questions we have on the board. We have two questions here to quickly solve. The first one says we should find the average of the following numbers. Okay, let's see how we go about that. Question number one, the numbers are 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 9, 1. These are the items. And now we have to find the average. Average is the same as mean. Average, which also is referred to as mean, we know is equal to sum of all items divided by number of items. So all I am going to do is to add all these numbers. This is going to be average equal to, let us add the numbers and see. I'm going to use this blue shade of marker, 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 3 plus 9 plus 1. Then I'll divide it by the number of items we have there. How many numbers were given to us in this question? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in fact, let me write it here that n is equal to 7. So this is going to be over 7. Okay, now we are going to add up what we have in the numerator. This is going to be equal to 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. 17 plus 3 is 20. 20 plus 9 is 29. 29 plus 1 is 30. And so this is going to give us 30 over 7. Let us quickly divide this and see. 30 over 7, you need your knowledge of multiplication. How many times can 7 divide 30? So you go to 7 times table. And you find out that it's going to be 4 times. So this is going to be 4 times. There will be remainder because it will not be exact number of times. Okay? 7 times 4 in multiplication table of 7 will give us 28. So the remainder will be 2. Remember that I divided this 30 at once because 7 cannot divide 3. So you put this 0 together with it, you attach it, you get 30. 7 can divide 30 4 times, but not exactly, there will be remainder. Now that I've divided this 30, and then we said it's 4 times. The remainder, there is no number to attach it to. Because I've divided this 30 at once, it gave me 4 times. Remainder 2. Now there is no number to attach the 2 to again because we've divided this 30 together. So what do? Would we now throw away the remainder? No. We can write it as 2 over 7. So that this will become 4 whole number, 2 over 7. But I want to get that 2 over 7 in decimal. So what do? This is the mathematics, okay? This 4 whole number, put your points there. That is 4 points. Remember that we say that the remainder is 2. So what do we do to that remainder, which is 2? Let me show you. You're going to attach 0 to the back of that 2. So you get something like this. Let me use black marker to write the 0, and I'll write it big. You attached it. And so you're going to divide this 20 by 7. So how many times will 7 go into 20? 7 will go into 22 times. 2 times. That 2 will give you 14. Because 7 times 2 is 14. The remainder will still be 6. What do you do to the remainder? Watch again. You attach 0 to that remainder. The remainder is 6 we said. Attach 0 to it. And then divide it by 7 again. How many times will 7 go into 60? It's going to go into 60 8 times. In 7 times table, 7 times 8 is 56. So that will be 8 times. Let me put my 8 here. To still have remainder, because that 8 times will be 56. And then the remainder will be 4. Attach 0 to the 4, divide by 7 again. And 7 can go into 40, because if you attach 0 to 4, you get 40. 7 can go into 40, how many times? That will be 5 times. The remainder is going to be 5. So you can continue this up to anywhere you want to stop. But I want us to just stop at this 2 decimal. And this 2 decimal is 2 8. If you like, you can make it 2 9, because the third time we did this thing, we got 40 over 7. And 40, if you divide by 7, it will be 5 whole times. Which means the third digit here is supposed to be 5, the third decimal. That 5 can be rounded up to this 8. If you round up 5 to 8, all you will do is to remove 1 from that 5, add it to this 8, you get 9. Then that 5 would disappear, it will reduce to 0. So this is 2 9. And this is my answer. So the average, the mean of these numbers is 4.29. Let us now solve the second question here. Are you ready for that? In the second question, we are told if the mean of a given distribution is 2.4, what will be the sum of the items if there are 5 items? So you see the question here, right? We were not given the distribution. They didn't give us the numbers, all right, of the distribution. The question just told us that the mean is 2.4. So from the question, we know the value of the mean. Question 2. We know the value of the mean from the question. The mean, the average, is 2.4. So I'm going to write the average or mean. We use this symbol to represent mean as well to x, then something like minus on top. We pronounce it as x bar or bar x. So if you see that, this thing represents mean. Whenever you see it in statistics, data collection. Alright, let us go. From the question, we know that the mean of that distribution is 2.4. Then we were also told that there are 5 items. So the number of items, n, is equal to 5. Is equal to 5. And the question now asks, what will be the sum of the items? So we don't know. We can say sum of the items. And you know, I told you we use summation xi if you like. We don't know it. We are asked to find the sum of the items in that distribution, and we were not given the distribution. Just like this one, they gave us the numbers in that distribution. They gave us the data clearly. In question 2, we are not given the data. We are not given the items so that we'll go and add them together. Now the question says we should find the sum of the items. So what would we do to get the sum of the items? We are going to remember something. Recall. You know, it is all about the formula. Once you're able to remember the formula, your problem is solved. What are we going to recall? Mean has a formula. Mean is equal to sum of all items, which is summation xi, divided by number of the items. We are looking for this one now, the summation, sum of all the items. This numerator, we don't know. I have already explained to you how to do substitution. If you have a formula, how to put in the values, how to replace the values into the formula. We have mean here. From the question, we know the value of the mean, 2.4. So we'll go to this formula and replace mean and substitute mean with the value 2.4 because we know the value from the question. Summation xi, we don't know the value. That is what we are looking for, the sum of the items. So we'll leave it like that. That is the unknown. You remember in quantitative, we've done something like that. And of course, we're going to still treat this under simple equation in mathematics. The quantitative and mathematics are, you know, the same thing. I've told you that when I introduced quantitative reasoning. Number of items, n, in the formula. So you see, we know the value, it's 5. We are going to replace that n with 5. That is called substitution in mathematics. Let's do that. In place of this mean, I'll put the value which is 2.4. Then after this mean, you have equal to summation xi, which is the sum of all the items I don't know. So I will still write that summation xi there. That is what I'm looking for. Then n, the number of items, is 5. Ooh la la. We've got something. Huh? You can see a fraction. In the fraction, we have an unknown. How do we get the value of this unknown in this fraction, the sum of all the items? Now, if you take your mind back to the principles of simple equation, one of them tells us to cross multiply when we have a fraction and the unknown. What we are looking for is either numerator or denominator of that fraction. So whenever you have a problem like that, where what you are looking for, what you don't know, the unknown, if it is seen as a fraction, you are expected to do what? That is correct. You cross multiply. Is that okay? So we're going to do that here. And remember, we use CM for cross multiplication. So get used to the abbreviation. So let us cross multiply. Remember, this 2.4 standing alone is over 1. That's correct. Any number standing alone is divided by 1. So if you are cross multiplying, you cross multiply this way. Okay? This summation xi will multiply that 1 there. In fact, let me put this as over 1. So we cross multiply, something like this. But I've told you I don't like drawing that, so that you will not go and draw your own line and cancel something. Just know that the numerator from the right will multiply the denominator on the left. And then the numerator on the left will multiply the denominator on the right. Are you ready? Let's do that. So this is going to be summation xi times 1. Of course, anything times 1 is that thing. Equal to 5 times 2.4, which is the same as 2.4 times 5. So that this will give us summation xi times 1 is summation xi, then 2.4 times 5. Let's multiply it and see. How do we do this multiplication? We use 5 to multiply this 4. 5 times 4 will give us 20. That 20, write 0. Remember, you are working from maybe the decimal part to the left hand side, okay? Now, we have our point here. Let me put the point. We will now do 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. But remember that you carried 2. You moved 2 when you did 5 times 4. It gave you 20. You recorded 0 and moved 2. So 5 times 2, which is 10, plus the 2 you moved, will give you 12. Good. Let us now conclude. Therefore, summation of the item is equal to 12. Summation of the item, or sum of all items, is equal to 12.0 is the same as 12. And that is our answer. So you see that this is pretty simple. It's not difficult. Just all you need to know is memorize the formula for calculating average, for calculating mean. And when a question is given to you, just look at the nature of the question and then you solve whatever you're asked to solve. Very important, the knowledge of multiplication. I have always sung that to you. And then don't forget that you need to know how to substitute, how to replace values into formulas. Get ready for the third question. Let us see what we're going to see next. Watch out as we pick the third question to solve. Our third question will take us to the family. Now we have 4 children. The mean age of the 4 children is 20 years. If each child is 2 years older than the other, find A, the age of the youngest child, B, the age of the eldest child, C, the age of the child before the youngest child, D, the age of the child after the eldest child. So think about this. In a house, 4 children. Each of them is 2 years older than the other one. We are asked to find the age of all of them. Now, the age before, the age after. Okay, that's to help you know the particular child whose age they want you to get. How do we solve this question? We don't know the age of these children. We don't know the age of any one of them at all. Let's see the information given to us from the question. We are given the mean age. The mean age is 20 years. So I'm going to write mean. Like I said, we use bar x or x bar to represent our mean. And the mean age is 20 years. We were told that each child is 2 years older than the other one. Oh, what are we going to do there? Remember, we don't know the age of any of the child. All right. Okay, in mathematics, you're solving something. You don't know what that thing is. It is an unknown. That is what you are looking for. You can call it x. So you see, we never get tired of finding x. Is that okay? But you can choose to call it y or any other alphabet. Maybe let me take it to be y this time around. So this is what we are going to do. You know, in a family, when you are giving birth, there is an arrangement. You have the first child, second child, third child, fourth child, depending on the number of children the parents decide to give birth to. Let us say that the youngest child, the age is y years. So we are saying that the age of the youngest child should be y. We don't know it. So from there we can now start building up the age of the other ones. Let the age of the youngest child. So y years. So we are saying that the age should be equal to what? Y years. We don't know. Now if the youngest child is y years, then it means that the child older, the one that is older than him, will now be y plus 2. Because each of them is 2 years older. And you know that the child older than the youngest one is actually the child before the youngest one. You know, if we have the eldest to be A, for example, the one following the eldest will be B. It means after the eldest, you see the one following him. Now, after this one, you have the next one, and then the last child, which we could say D. So the child before the last child will be 2 years older than the last child. You're going to write that. Let the age of the child before the youngest child be equal to, now it's going to be y plus 2. Good. Now, the child that is older than this one now will be 2 years older than this. If you add 2 to this age, it will be y plus 4, because y plus 2 plus the 2 years older will now be 2 plus 2, which will give us 4. So they, okay, so let me wipe this. I'm going to write, let the age of the child after the eldest, because that is what this child is going to be. You know, we moved from the youngest going up. So this child now is the one just younger than the eldest. So it's the child after the eldest. If you're talking about from the eldest down, it will now be the child after the eldest. Let the age of the child after the eldest be equal to, remember, this child is 2 years older than this. It means that the child, this one, will be 4 years older than the youngest child. And like I explained, if you do that, you get y plus 4 years. Good. We are moving on. Then the eldest child now. Let the age of the eldest child to now be equal to, remember the eldest child will be 2 years older than this. So that's going to give us y plus 6. Because if you add 2 years to this, you get y plus 6 years. Now we have gotten the age of these children. The youngest, the one before him, the one after the eldest, and the eldest child. This is how their age is going to be. Our problem now is we don't know y. If we know y, we are now going to add all these numbers to get the age of these children. Are you ready? Let us see what we're going to do. This becomes our items, alright? This become our items. Y plus 2, y plus 4, and y plus 6. So I'm going to write items y, comma, y plus 2, comma, y plus 4, comma, and then y plus 6. So we are going to apply the definition or the formula of mean. We know that the children are 4. So let me indicate the number of children, because that's going to give us n. That is equal to 4. Recall our mean formula. We know that mean is equal to sum of all items divided by number of items. And so we are going to do our substitution now. Let us substitute and see. The mean age was given to us in the question to be 20 years. So in place of this mean, I'm going to put 20. After the mean, you have equal to sum of all items. These are our items. We have y plus 2. Make sure you put these ones in brackets because they have plus combining something. It's for your good. If you don't follow mathematical steps, you might land yourself in trouble sometimes. If we had minus here and you don't respect putting some things in brackets, you may just get into trouble. Alright, so this becomes plus y plus 4 plus y plus 6. Even though using brackets for this question or not using brackets in this question will not harm us. It won't cause us any trouble, but I've decided to do the right thing I am supposed to do when I'm solving a question like this, in order to avoid any problem in case. So I will divide all of these by the number of items, and there are 4 items. So what will I do here? This becomes 20 equal to, let us add up this. If you remove this bracket, you get y plus 2 plus y plus 4 plus y plus 6. So you can add the like terms. Our like terms are y there, then the numbers are also like terms. So this is going to give us y plus y plus y plus y. We have 4 y's there. Then the numbers plus 2 plus 4 plus 6 divided by 4. Now if you work out this, you get that 20 is equal to 4y. Then if you add up this, you get plus 12. Divide this by 4. This implies that, this sign off, it implies that. Now, look at, there is something here. This is a fraction. We are looking for y, and y is part of this fraction. So we're going to cross multiply. Cross multiply. So it implies that we are going to cross multiply. If you cross multiply, you get 4 times 20, which will give you 80. Still that, 4 times 20, the same as 20 times 4. Then know that this 20 is over 1. I explained that previously, I think under question number 2. So this 4y plus 12 together will multiply that 1 there. And 4y plus 12, if it multiplies 1, you will still get 4y plus 12. Because anything times 1 is that number. 20 times 4 will give us 80. So we continue again. It implies that we have 80 equal to 4y plus 12. I'm sorry that I'm solving this along a straight line like this. I want to maintain this or conserve, manage this space to solve this problem completely. This becomes a simple equation where we have plus, together with a part where we have an unknown. So we need to collect like terms. C, L, T. If you're collecting like term, this 12 will move to 80, and you get 80 minus 12. That will be equal to 4y. Then 80 minus 12 will give us what? That's 68. 80 minus 12 will give us 68. So, again, it implies that 68 is equal to 4y. We are looking for y. Y has a coefficient now. Okay? So what do? The principle of simple equation said we are going to divide both sides by the coefficient of the unknown. So this is dbs by 4. The unknown is y. The coefficient, which is the number multiplying it, is 4. Now if you are dividing both sides by 4, this will be 68. This will be 68 divided by 4 equal to 4y divided by 4. You've divided the left side by 4, the right hand side by 4. These 4 will cancel out. And then 64 divided by 4. Alright, let's see what that is going to be. 4 can go into 6. How many times? 1 time, remainder 2. Attach the 2 to this 8, you get 28. 4 can go into 28. How many times? 7 times. So this is going to give us 17. Divide this, you get 17. And then 4 divided by 4, you get 1. Therefore, you see clearly that y is equal to 17 years. 17 years. That is the age of the youngest. Can conclude that the youngest age is 17. The youngest child is 17 years. I'm trying to manage this space. Let's see. Okay, what about this is solution to the A part of the question. A part of the question. Now let us look at B part of the question. The age of the eldest child. B. The eldest child equals, remember that from here the eldest child is y plus 6. So that's going to be y plus 6 years. And y we know is equal to what? 17. Alright, so that's going to be y plus 6, which is equal to 17 plus 6. And if you do that, you get 23 years. Good. The eldest child is 23 years. We are moving on. C. What about the age of the child before the youngest child? You know, we are giving birth before the youngest, before the last born. You have the child before him. And that child is 2 years older than the youngest. Look at him. So, the age of the child before the youngest child. I'll just work it once. Let's look at that. Y plus 2. Y is 17. So if you add 2, you are going to get 19 years. And then the last one, the age of the child after the eldest child. So we have the age of the child after the eldest child. I'm sorry, just manage this thing that I put together there, okay? You can read up the notes to see what is here. Alright, the notes just below this video lesson. You'll see the notes, okay? Now, the age of that child after the eldest, you know, the eldest, the child that follows him. And that child is y plus 4. And y is 17, so if you add 4, you get what? 21 years. So this is going to be 21 years. Good. We are done solving this question. So look at it. The youngest child is 17 years. Then the age of the child before the youngest child is 19 years. You know, that is moving from down up. The child after the eldest is 21 years. And then the eldest child is 23 years. If you move around this, you notice that they are 2 years older than the other. Look at youngest child, 17. The one that follows him is 19. I'm sorry I'm using male gender for them, alright? Okay, so, and then the next one that follows is 21. If you add 2 to 19, you get 21. The next one that follows, which is the eldest, is 23, which is adding 2 to this 21. And so this is how we solve this problem. So it's all about you reasoning it. Just look at the statement, okay? Quickly, let me tell you that this question could have been put in this way. The mean of 4 numbers is 20. You can put down what I'm saying. The mean of 4 numbers is 20. If each number is 2 greater than the other one. If each number is what? 2 greater than the other. It also interprets this question. We could also say about this question that, okay, the mean of 4 consecutive numbers, okay, let's say 4 consecutive even numbers. The mean of 4 consecutive, maybe even numbers. Because for even numbers, they increase 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Alright, so I'm just trying to give you ideas of how these questions can still be given to you sometimes. It is all about you thinking about what is being asked in the question. Of course, remember your mean formula and you solve your question. And this is how we are done with mean. If you have a question, please feel free to send your question across and you'll get a response. Below this video you have a quiz to take specifically on mean as a measure of location or a measure of central tendency. So answer this question, remember to score all of them. That shows how well you understand this topic.